Welcome back, Sebastian here. So today I'm going to go over the Berlin Formula E ePrix round 2. So it was a wet qualifying this morning. So Frijns was on pole and Muller was second. So it was actually a front row lockout for the app team, the team that's routinely been the slowest team in qualifying this year. So it was a massive shock in qualifying. But track was drying out very quickly in the build up to the race, and basically by the time the race started, it was completely dry. The start of the race then had to get delayed because there were protesters on track who looked like they were attempting to tape themselves or glue themselves to the track. So there was about a 10-minute delay while they got cleared away, and race director Scott Elkins had to make sure that the track was safe and that they didn't put anything on the track that would endanger the drivers. So when the race eventually got started, it was a good start by Frijns. He kept the lead, and there was really good battling kind of in the mid-pack between the championship rivals. Roland had an issue at the start, and he was down to 21st at the end of the first lap, which eventually became 22nd. Lap 2, Bird was up to 9th place. The apps had kind of gone right into attack mode and dropped to 3rd and 5th, respectively. Lap 4, Buemi takes attack mode, who was at the lead at that point, and drops down to 5th behind Muller. Lap 5, DaCosta overtakes Cassidy for P8. And Jev takes attack mode and comes out ahead of Buemi. So cars taking attack mode very early, similar to the strategy yesterday, just trying to get rid of it because it's unfortunately hasn't been that useful this year in terms of its original purpose, which was to help overtaking other cars. And it's kind of just turned into a hindrance where it's more of you lose time and it's kind of a mini pit stop without any of the benefit. Let's see, lap 5, DaCosta overtakes, so I've already said that. Lap 6, Jev overtakes Muller for P3 into turn 1. Evans takes attack mode and Jev retakes the lead. Bird overtakes Dennis at turn 9 for P9. Lap 8, Muller overtakes Jev for P1 at turn 1. So I thought Muller had a really good race and he was doing a good job of trying to keep up with the leaders for the first half of the race or so. And then he takes attack mode right away, so basically he only overtook to try to build that gap so that he minimized how many places he got after taking attack mode, and he came out just ahead of Frijns, so he jumped his teammate at this point. Lap 9, DaCosta and Cassidy both overtake Frijns, so they're now in 6th and 7th place respectively. So at this point Frijns is basically just dropping down the order. He has very low race pace and he basically is forced to stick to his delta in order to make sure he has enough energy to finish the race. Jev and Buemi both take attack mode lap 9. Lap 10, Frijns is out of the points, which has been fortunate, so pulls out of Frijns out of the points after a really fantastic afternoon, this morning qualifying. Evans takes second attack mode and drops down to 5th. Bird, lap 11, Bird squeezes Dennis a bit. Turn 2, turn 3, but it's all good and there's no harm done. Verline takes the lead, but he still needs to take his 2 attack mode, so he kind of just inherited the position because all the cars around him took attack mode. Lap 12, 2 Porsches, Verline and DaCosta both take attack mode. Cassidy overtakes Jev for P3 at turn 9. Lap 13, Lauderer was basically off at turn 1, and he basically just went straight on into the tech probe area and damaged the nose and the front wing. So his race was basically ruined, and he would basically have to come in at the end of the lap for repairs. Cassidy takes attack mode, comes out behind his teammate Buemi. Lap 14, Buemi is up to 4th at this point, and there's damage on the back straight as well as the straight from turn 6 up to the hairpin kind of turn 9. And this was basically just debris from Lauderer's front wing. They did give a warning on the team radio. Scott Elkins gave a warning to the drivers, but luckily there was no safety car over full course yellow that was needed. Let's see, Buemi takes the lead at that point, and then lap 15, Cassidy overtakes Muller for P5. Jev is side by side with DaCosta, so there's a lot of really nice side by side action, so that was great to see. A bit less chaos and a bit less carnage compared to yesterday's race so far. It's 1-2, lap 16 was a Porsche 1-2 at this point with Verline in the lead. DaCosta takes attack mode, and they showed Mortara was damaged, so basically he damaged the front wing, and the front wing was basically rubbing against the kind of the arch of the front wing was rubbing against the wheel, so there's a lot of smoke, and he has come in the pit, and his race was effectively ruined, just like Lauderer. We didn't get to see the contact that probably led to that damage, but just which kind of shows how much action it was that they couldn't even show the replays for those incidents. Let's see. So Mortara was having issues, got damaged. Lap 17, Bearline and Cassidy take attack mode, so they come out second and fourth respectively. Lap 18, Bird may have trouble with front wing, so it's similar to the situation with Mortara, may have gotten a bit of contact with another driver, and unfortunately for him, he has to pit from a very strong point paying position, so that's a shame for Bird because he was having a pretty strong race again today. Buemi takes attack mode, it's down to 6. Lap 19, so let's see, Jev trying to make a move on Cassidy. Dennis was up to 4th, and Jev was up to 2nd as well. Lap 20, Jev takes the lead, and Buemi has damage. So 3 cars in very short succession. First Lauderer, then Mortara, then Bird, and then Buemi, all having issues with the front wing. So it looks like they just had a little bit of contact, and unfortunately for them, all 3 of their races were ruined. Lap 22, he was complaining about his front wing on the radio, so he was really worried that the front wing was basically just going to fail and fall off and fall underneath the car, which can be a really scary situation for a driver because you basically lose a lot of the control of the car. But eventually, he falls off and he's able to pit safely. Dennis takes attack mode, Jev drops out at first intentionally, so one of the things that we've been seeing at these races at Berlin is that really no one wants to be in the lead, and drivers were actually at some points basically dropping out of first place intentionally in order to save energy and to let the other cars take the lead and take the brunt of the energy, basically the damage that you get, the penalty that you get from being in the lead in terms of energy management. Lap 23, Cassidy overtakes 3 cars at turn 6, so he basically brakes extremely late and basically dives down the inside of turn 6 and overtakes 3 cars at one corner, so that was a really nice move there. Lap 24, Bearline still in first, Gunther somehow 5th. He gained 16 positions, because I remember the first 5 laps he was in like 20th, 21st place, so somehow he basically just climbed his way up the field and no one really noticed, so great for Gunther there. Cassidy in first place, Dennis 2nd, Jev 3rd. Lap 26, DaCosta says, I need to go now, basically saying that there's not enough laps run and that the cars need to start getting themselves into position in order to kind of make those final attacking moves to get so that they're in the perfect place for the end of the race. Let's see, so lap 27, DaCosta overtakes Evans for P5 at turn 1, and then overtakes Bearline for P4. Lap 29, DaCosta overtakes Jev for P4 at turn 6, and then Evans follows through. Lap 30, Jev overtakes Evans for P4, so a lot of jockeying for positions for the spots around the podium positions. And then Jev overtakes DaCosta for P3 at turn 6, and then following lap 30, a couple laps later, lap 34, there's a bit of a moment where DaCosta basically taps the rear of Evans' car, and it kind of just causes him to slightly oversteer at the exit of turn 9. Luckily there's no punctures, no damage, but it was a bit of a scary moment. And I think that was a really critical moment for the Porsche's races because it caused, by DaCosta tapping Evans, it cost all 3 of them. So Evans, DaCosta, and Bearline, it cost all 3 of them a lot of time, and it caused this big separation to form between the podium finishers and then the next 3 cars behind. So it was a bit of a critical moment towards the end of the race there, I thought. Let's see, so top 3 started breaking away, like I said. Lap 36, they announced no added laps. Lap 39, Evans tries to go for a move for P3 at turn 6, it doesn't make it stick, so he's still in P4. Lap 40, final lap, Dennis has a lot more energy at this point, so there's still an outside possibility that he would be able to make a move for the lead on the last lap. But unfortunately for him, and fortunately for Cassidy and his fans, he can't get past. So Cassidy takes a checkered flag and wins his first race of the season. So great result there. So let's see, race result from the second race of the Berlin ePrix 2023. So first Cassidy, second Dennis, third Jev, fourth Evans, fifth DaCosta, sixth Gunther, who also got fastest lap, seventh Fairline, eighth Van Dorn, ninth Muller, 10th Tictum, 11th Fenestras, 12th Degrassi, 13th Rast, 14th Roland, 15th Sergio Seti Camara, 16th Nato, 17th Fines, 18th Hughes, 19th Bird, 20th Buemi, 21st Lauder, and 22nd Mortara. So overall, I think really unexpectedly good drives from Gunther, as well as Muller in ninth. Tictum, I think, also deserves quite a bit of credit. Started, I think, 18th or so. Started 18th and finished as 10th. So it gets a really well-earned point for Neo. Championship standings after the Berlin ePrix, which round 8 of the season, so exactly halfway through the season. Fairline first with a nice round, 100 points. Cassidy second with 96 points. Jev's third with 81 points. Dennis fourth with 80 points. Fifth Evans with 76 points. Sixth DaCosta with 68 points. Bird seventh with 62 points. Buemi eighth with 57 points. Rast ninth with 40 points. Hughes 10th with 32 points. Gunther moves up into 11th with 24 points. Massive haul of points for Gunther this weekend. 12th Van Dorn also with 24 points. Lauderer 13th, 23 points. Degrassi 14th, 18 points. Nato 15th, 11 points. The 16th Sergio Seti Camara 10 points. 17th Tictum also 10 points. 18th Roland 9 points. 19th Fenestras with 7 points. 20th Mortara 5 points. And your bottom two in the championship both getting points on the board for the first time this season. 21st Fines 3 points, and 22nd Muller 2 points for 9th place. Your team's championship, if I've calculated, if my maths are correct on this one. First Porsche 168 points. Second Envision 153 points. Third Jaguar 138 points. Fourth DS 105 points. With 103 points is Andretti in fifth. McLaren 6th with 72 points. 7th Maserati with 29 points. With 27 points, Mahindra in 8th. Neo following up in 9th with 20 points. Nissan 10th with 18 points. And rounding off the back is Apt with 5 points. All gained second race in Berlin. So that's all for the Berlin ePrix. So I thought overall 2 really interesting races, very different races than what we're used to in Formula E. But I think having the field be so close together, I thought was quite interesting, and especially today, the drivers were generally much more clean in terms of wheel-to-wheel racing, and that was great to see. You never want to see racing decided by some poor moves and team cars taking each other out, kind of like we saw yesterday, and we saw quite a bit of in the Gen 2 era. But for now, that's all for Formula E until the Monaco ePrix, which is going to be in a fortnight time in 2 weeks. So that should be really exciting. We had some really great races there at the end of the Gen 2 era, so I'm really excited to see what Gen 3 produces. First time in Gen 3 era at Monaco. So I'll be back with Formula E, I think, Tuesday. I'll be posting my power rankings from the 2 Berlin ePrix combined. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.